Let's talk about something that is, well, nothing short of a revolution in modern medicine. It's this massive shift away from huge open surgeries to fixing one of the most critical parts of the human body from the inside.
So think about this for a second. How do you fix a dangerous balloon-like bulge in the body's main pipeline, the aorta, without, actually cutting a patient wide open? This single question has been the driving force behind decades of absolutely incredible medical innovation.
And to really appreciate why this is such a big deal, you just have to look at the difference here. It's night and day. On one side, you've got traditional open surgery. We're talking a massive incision, a long and really painful recovery, and a whole lot more risk. But then, look at the other side, the endovascular approach, a couple of tiny incisions, a way faster recovery and much, much lower risk. For patients, it's a total game changer.
Okay, so to really get the solution, we've got to understand the problem first. Let's start with the basics of this faulty pipeline.
The danger we're talking about here is called an aortic aneurysm. The easiest way to picture it is as a weak spot in the wall of your body's biggest artery, the aorta, that just starts to bulge out, kind of like a balloon. And the stakes? Well, they could not be higher. If that bulge ruptures, it is almost always fatal. So, how in the world did engineers and surgeons figure out a way to fix this from the inside? Well, it all started with a really elegant, almost simple concept, the internal sleeve.
Let's just walk through how this works. First up, step 1. Surgeons make a tiny incision, usually down in the groin, to get access. Then, step 2, they guide a collapsed device, called an endograft, all the way up to the aneurysm. For step 3, they deploy the graft, it expands, and it creates a brand new, safe path for the blood to flow through. And that brings us to the final and most critical step. The aneurysm itself is now sealed off from all that blood pressure, which stops it from ever rupturing.
And this thing, the endograft, this is the star of the show. Seriously, think of it as a super high-tech inner tube for your aorta. It's basically a fabric tube held open by a metal mesh frame. It just acts as a liner for that faulty pipe, reinforcing the aorta from the inside and making sure blood flows where it's supposed to. But of course, the human body is never that simple, is it? The aorta isn't just one long, straight pipe. It has these critical off-ramps. And this is where things get a lot more complicated. Yeah, imagine you're trying to reline a water main, but it has all these smaller pipes branching off it to supply entire neighborhoods. A simple sleeve would just block everything. Well, in the body, those branches supply blood to everything. Your kidneys, your liver, even your brain. You obviously can't just cover them up. So how did they solve this puzzle? Well, this is where the engineering gets really, really clever. They came up with these incredible solutions. Some grafts are fenestrated, which is just a fancy way of saying they have tiny, perfectly placed holes that line right up with the arteries going to your organs. Others are branched, so they have their own little mini grafts that actually extend into those side arteries. And the wildest part? A lot of these are completely custom-made, built from scratch for one specific patient's body.
Now, this rapid innovation is amazing, but it's not a perfect story. Progress in medicine, especially when you're dealing with brand new devices, sometimes comes with some pretty serious risks and setbacks.
You see, there's this constant push to make these devices smaller, more flexible, easier to put in, but that can sometimes lead to problems you just didn't see coming, especially once they're out in the real world treating thousands of patients.
And this isn't just a hypothetical. We've seen several really promising devices get recalled. Take the Medtronic Valiant Navion. It had to be pulled because the metal stents were fracturing, which could cause dangerous leaks. Then there was the Endologic's Ovation IX, which had issues with its polymer seal. And the Iliac system, which was a totally different approach. It just didn't hold up over the long term. These are real-world examples of innovation hitting a pretty tough wall.
And all of this really hammers home a crucial point. These unexpected problems prove that we absolutely need what's called post-market surveillance. Just because the device gets approved doesn't mean the work is done. You have to keep monitoring these things for years to make sure they're still safe and doing their job.
So what's next? After mastering these custom devices and, learning from some failures, the new frontier is all about balancing that perfect, custom fit with speed and accessibility. So here's the core dilemma the doctors are dealing with today. On one hand, you have custom-made devices. They're amazing, perfectly tailored to a patient's unique anatomy. The problem? They can take weeks, sometimes months to make. So what do you do if a patient needs treatment right now? Well, that's where off-the-shelf devices come in. They're standardized, sitting on a shelf, ready to go at a moment's notice. And this is where the innovation today is so exciting.
Companies are developing these incredible standardized solutions that are kind of like a Swiss Army knife for aortic repair. For instance, some have these pivoting holes that can actually adapt to different bodies. Others are designed to be a one-size-fits-most solution for the most common anatomies. The whole goal is to get the benefits of a super complex custom repair, but without that long wait.
It's really an incredible story of engineering and medicine coming together to turn what was a death sentence into a manageable condition. But it also makes you wonder, right? As we get better and better at fixing our internal plumbing from the inside, what new, completely unforeseen challenges are the next generation of innovators going to have to solve?